Clement's Homebrew, coming at you with a beer review. Oh man, I've been needing a good beer. Christian's not been showing up, so that means I get this one all to myself. Now, we've had some issues with beers from the Bruery, so we're gonna bring in a ringer. Hopefully this will be a good one. It's from the Bruery, yes. It is Smoking Wood. This is the 2014 aged in bourbon barrels. And I say that because there are different versions. This is a smoked Imperial rye porter, aged in bourbon barrels. It is 14% ABV, so I'm going to be feeling just fine tonight. Oh, the missus doesn't know how big this is, but I got to tell you, there are several versions, so I want you to look carefully at this. They've made multiple versions of the Smoking Wood. This includes a rye barrel aged instead of bourbon barrel. It was a rye barrel. They've had, of course, the bourbon barrel. I think 2 versions of that. They've done 2 coffee versions. They've done a blueberry version. They've done 2 mole versions. They've done one with bacon. Oh, I would like to have tried that. And chipotle. So this one is simply an Imperial rye porter. I don't know what's simple about that in bourbon barrels. So we're going to get this cracked open and give it a try. I gave it a generous pour, which almost gave it a 2-finger head. Probably wouldn't have as much. Boy, it was just coming out like black motor oil. And I know you hear that terminology a lot. It was not as thick, but the color was sure there. It was just dark as night. And I tell you, I'm getting nothing through this. It really is, it's black, you tell me. And it's got a nice mocha head. I mean, this isn't just a khaki head. It's a nice mocha head. And it's really creamy, extremely creamy looking on the top. I don't know if you can get a look at that. It's going to leave a little bit of stickiness on the side, we'll see. But it's a pretty beer. Let's get a nose on it. Oh man, this is right up my alley. This is a slice of heaven. This is what I needed. This is rich and thick and chocolatey and dark fruits, and it just feels like a chewy beer to me. Oh my gosh, I mean, you get the oak and you get the bourbon, of course, but you are getting dark fruits on this. We're talking about plums and the candied plums. We're talking about figs on there. I mean, it's just so rich. Prunes are on there. You get a hint of molasses on there. It's a bit of a toasty taste, or I should say aroma. Vanilla, a really rich caramel, not the dark but the lighter caramel, but a really rich version of that. You get just a little bit of smokiness, not a lot of the smokiness on it, and a bit of the roasted malt, of course. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about this beer. I should have done that beforehand. This one is made with Beechwood and Cherrywood smoked malts and a hefty amount of Rye Malt before they barrel age it. So I should get some nice smokiness on this as well. So cheers, let's dive in. That's a bit alright. I'm going to be having a very nice evening tonight. You can see it's faded to a ring that stayed there with a little bit of lacing. This is a beautiful, full mouthfeel. It just coats the mouth wonderfully. For some people, this might be too hot. For me, not at all. This is like perfect. And it's just a wonderful sweetness on the mouth, which is just hanging around. It's not, it might dry out a smidge, but for the most part, it just hangs around and leaves this beautiful taste in your mouth. At the very beginning, you get some of that smokiness. You know, it catches you right up front. And then as it rolls over your tongue, you pull in more of the chocolate and the dark fruits come in, almost like some peat moss, some of that smokiness. And it just comes rolling through. Lovely dark fruits, as I said, and everything in the nose, you know, the figs, the plums, the candied plums, the prunes, those types, maybe a little bit of date. Also, right at the beginning, the bourbon right on the side of the tongues. You really taste it, but it's not a burn. I'm not getting any burn. Oh, Now on the backside, I'm getting that smoke. Definitely get the beechwood, but what's really lovely is I'm getting some of the cherry, smoked cherry wood on there. Oh, that's nice. I'm used to getting those beechwoods, but that cherry blended in is just wonderful in the malts. Just a lightest hint of some licorice, maybe some nut like hazelnut, which is from Oregon, something I'm well familiar with. Wonderful caramel flavors on that. Bit of toasted malt. And the chocolate on it is more of a dark chocolate for sure, I'd say. You know, those cocoa nib type thing, but really more to the dark chocolate side. It just goes down slightly slick, just smooth, velvety, you know, almost syrupy at some points. This is a wonderful beer. I'm going to take some time with this. I'll be back for a conclusion. Oh, I'm a happy guy. You know I like my big beers, my big dark stouts, and this is more like a stout. I mean, it's an Imperial porter, what can you say? And it's got a lot of rye, and it's got the smokiness, and it's got the barrel aging. Reminds me of beers from Joseph James Brewing out of Henderson, Nevada. They make some over-the-top, almost, to be honest with you, beers. This, on the other hand, some people would think it was too hot. I don't. I think this is drinkable today. Drinkable today. But I also think this could probably be aged. In fact, there's no question this could age. I almost wish I had another bottle at least to have set aside for a couple of years. It is drinking really nice. When you put your nose into this, wow, you are just getting, like sticking your nose inside the barrel of bourbon, but adding all these rich aromas, sweetness, and dark fruits, and all kind of melding together and aging. It's phenomenal. It's amazing when you think of a beer creating something like this. And truly, I love that. This is one of the things I love about beer. You would think that someone took these prunes and plums and figs and dark fruits of sorts, you know, dates, whatever, and stuck them and melded them with brown sugar and things and to get here. And it's not. This is beer, and it's just lovely. So I'm loving this beer. It's time to do some ratings. So how do you rate this? I've done this a number of times. This is an Imperial Porter. It's an barrel-aged Imperial Porter at that, but it's an Imperial Porter. That's the category we've got to put it in. Some people say it's a smoked beer. Quite frankly, I think it falls more into the Imperial Porter than the smoked beer category. With that, I don't think there's really very far to go. This is probably one of the better Imperial Porters I've had. I'm straight up giving this a 97. I'm loving it. Now, mind you, I want to tell you that I had last year's version, the 2014, which was on rye barrels, so rye whiskey barrels. That was a wonderful beer too. Really, really good. You got more of the smoke character, much more. You had none of the dark fruits, at least at this level. Nothing like this. And it stands on its own. I loved that beer. This is a really different beer. I mean, it's on bourbon barrels and has dark fruits and things. So wonderful. Cheers. I had to have a couple more sips before I gave the overallness. I like this. Now, everyone has their own taste, but for me, this is right up my alley. It really is. I think overall, I'm right there. This is a 97. This is an A+ beer, hands down. Fantastic. Absolutely love it. Wow, I don't know. You got to try one. Here it is. This is it. With the official The Bruery cap, which I got from a good friend, Brandon Finch. Thank you, Brandon, for that. And Brandon, I hope you've had this one. This is a phenomenal beer. This is the Smoking Wood. It's the 2014 Bourbon Barrel Aged out of Placentia, California. That's where Bruery's located. Try to find yourself one. I believe you can still find this on the shelves. Folks, this is a good one. I'm going to be having a great night. Life's too short to drink cheap beer. And I'll see you on the next beer review. See ya.